What does the movie It's a Wonderful Life have to do with Thanksgiving this week? Well, traditionally, this is the start of the holiday season, and It's a Wonderful Life is one of the most popular, if not the most popular Christmas movie or holiday movie, depending upon how you look at it. And so often you see people, and our family included, where we might start watching our holiday movies on Thanksgiving, and that might be the first one. But in today's topic, it's got a little different connotation. Now, first of all, I should apologize to everybody because I know a number of you have been asking, where has Steve been for the last few weeks? Why isn't he doing his weekly videos and stuff like that? And it's real simple. It really has nothing to do with the COVID or anything like that. We've been healthy. But I have a client. I have a great client I've been working with for 26, 27 years, something like that. I don't know. For a long time. And they are doing a moonshot online project. And I'm playing a big part of that. And so my time is so wrapped up in this project. I mean, it's almost like having a job, which, oh, wow. Oh, I feel bad for you guys. But anyway, so that's why I just haven't had the time. And when I can kind of make the time, I will certainly get back to doing this. Now, I mean, this project is going for another few months, but we'll see what I can do about that. But I definitely wanted to talk about this because something came up. Something came up a few days ago that just caught my attention, and I thought, I have to talk about this. And what came up, and give credit where credit is due, okay? I subscribe to a weekly newsletter, a pretty cool little newsletter. I would certainly recommend it, and it's actually called Recommendo. I'm going to put it right here on, here on the screen. And once a week, there are 3 people involved with Recommendo, and together they come up with 5 things that they are going to recommend each week. And it could be anything. It could be a product, it could be an app, it could be a book, it could be a movie, I don't know. But it also could be something along the lines of a study, like an article that they talked about that I found. And the article referenced this 2008 study from that was done through the U.S. National Library of Medicine, the National Institute of Health. And 4 people did this study that was titled, It's a Wonderful Life, Mentally Subtracting Positive Events Improves People's Affective States, Contrary to Their Affective Forecasts. I have no idea what the second part of that means, but the idea of mentally subtracting positive events. Now, this whole concept caught my eye. And essentially what it's all about is that, in It's a Wonderful Life, Jimmy Stewart, he has lost his money. He doesn't know what to do. He's at his wit's end, and he goes to the bridge, thinking that he's going to commit suicide, and he prays to God, and he basically says something along the lines of, and a little bit later he says something along the lines of, I probably would have been, this place would have been better off if I'd never been born. And Clarence, the angel who was there to help him, said, that's a good idea. I can do that, right? And so he makes it look, he makes the world like as if Jimmy Stewart had never been born in the movie. And so then, of course, by the end of the movie, he starts to realize he has really given a lot, contributed a lot to the world, despite his current situation. Now, what this is, and what this study is about, is a little twist on the It's a Wonderful Life premise. And this twist is fascinating to me because it's very powerful, and I think we can all use this week in particular, because Thanksgiving is what it is. It's called Thanksgiving. We get together, we sit around together. This year, not going to happen. All right, for a lot of us, it's not going to happen. Kay and Kelly and I were originally going to get together down in Sun River, Oregon, and because of the restrictions, travel restrictions, because of all the restaurants are closed except for takeout, and Kelly, if she came up to Oregon from California, she would probably have to quarantine for 14 days when she goes back, and that just doesn't work out. So we canceled getting together for the holidays, and we'll get together another time. But Thanksgiving is still about giving thanks, and And even though we might not all be together, and we will certainly be together virtually for part of the time, we still want to give thanks. And very often, when you're sitting around the table, and you might be praying before you eat, and very often people will say, okay, why don't we go around the table and everybody say something that they're thankful for. And we talk about, we're thankful for our family, we're thankful for our job, we're thankful for our home, having a home, is something like that, right? And that's great. That's all well and good to do that. But what this study back in 2008 came up with was the concept of doing what they call mental subtraction. And mental subtraction is to where, instead of being thankful for something, the idea is to sit down, and here's kind of how it works: is you make a list of things that you would be thankful for. And to use a very simple example, something that I don't think I have ever actually said that I'm thankful for, but think about this: running water in our home. Okay, running water. So, we are able to go get up in the morning, go take a shower, a hot shower in our bathrooms. We are able to go turn the faucet on and pour a glass of water for ourselves right there and drink it. Okay. Now imagine mentally subtract. So we should be thankful for running water. So mentally subtract that now and ask yourself, what would your life be like if you didn't have that in your life? And so what would it be like if we didn't have clean running water every day from our tap, and taking a hot shower every day, and things like that? Think about how difficult our lives would be. And of course there are people all around the world who face that every single day, but because we don't really think about what it would be like to be in that situation, we don't recognize it. But this practice of mental subtraction might wake you up and give you a little snap, a little aha, on this, whack on the side of the head, and you might actually start thinking about that. But then you take the idea of mental subtraction is to step it up and pick something important. So, like, let's say, for example, I pick my smoking hot wife Kay, all right, and what would have happened if, looking back at how we got connected. See, part of mental subtraction is to then go back to the beginning of something like this and ask yourself, what happened to make you connect? What happened to make that person come into your life? And then look at it from the perspective of, what if that had not happened? So you see, I moved to Seattle. And when I moved to Seattle, my minister back down in California told me that he had a friend who had a church up here, and he connected with him and then put the two of us together. And so when I got here, I called him, and just to introduce myself. And he said, "Oh, you got to come to church, and you'll really enjoy church." And so I said, "Okay, yeah, I'll be at church." So 10 days after I moved to Seattle, I went to church. And when I walked into church, the very first person I saw was this beautiful, cute, young brunette, Kay. And I went up to her and I said, "My name is Steve. This is the first time I've ever been here. Can you tell me a little bit about the church and the people and stuff like that?" And she said, "My name is Kay. This is my first time here at the church." And I said, "Oh, that's great. We can hang out together and, and kind of experience the first time and, get to know, do it together. Might be a little bit more comfortable." And she looked me in the eye and she said, "I don't think so," and walked away. And so like for the rest of the time at church, I was like a little puppy dog who kept stalking her, in the, between the service and the other stuff that they were doing there, Sunday school and Sunday school classes and then I managed to get her phone number, but it still took me 6 weeks to convince her to go out with me, right? And then when we went out, our first 2 dates that I planned were abysmal failures, right? And I found out later on that she told her roommates that if our third date was a failure, that was it, that she wasn't going to go out with me anymore. And so now, and yet here we are, 33 years later, married, got a great kid, Kelly. And and so I think back, and because of this mental subtraction, the exercise that I go through is to ask myself, wow, what could have happened to have prevented me from meeting Kay? Because what would my life have been like? I have to believe it wouldn't have been this great. I have to believe that, and so it enhances the thankfulness that you have in your heart, for this. and you can practice this literally every day. And some people get up and they have their morning ritual of starting the day, and very often in doing these rituals, one of the things that we do is to write down things that we're thankful for. But this practice, if you have a list of things that you're thankful for, and if every day you pick one of them and you say, what would my life be like if I didn't have this in my life, this person, this, my job, where I live, things like that. What happened to get me here, and what would have happened in my life if those had not, if those circumstances and events did not happen. And I think it will give you a greater feeling of gratitude and thankfulness for having that person in your life, or having something else in your life. You might want to try and do that this week for Thanksgiving. I know I'm going to, because I think this is a really, really excellent way of approaching gratitude. So in this week of Thanksgiving, even during COVID, there's still a lot that I know many of us have to be thankful for. If you have people that are sick in your family, then we're praying for you guys. For the rest of us, let's be smart, wear your masks, socially distance, just follow what the experts are telling us to do, because that's the only way we're going to get out of this. All right. So with that, not sure exactly when I'll be back, because I still got the moonshot going on, but I will do my best to talk to you again. This week, let's all be thankful, and let's think about what would our lives have been like if we didn't have these things that we are thankful for. I'm Steve Miller, better known as Kelly's dad, marketing gunslinger. Thanks again for joining me this week, and I will see you again on another Uncopyable Business video. So in the meantime, be uncopyable. I'll see you.